Good morning, traders. Paul here with GammaEdge. Today is Wednesday, the 29th of March. Let's get started. Pause your players here. Read to the very bottom. If you agree, hit that play button. Summary for today, we've had chop on the market model. The futures are up in the pre-market. Cumulative tick signals reversed yesterday. Obviously, use some caution. We can be back and forth and chopping to the end of the week. Long term, we are in a bearish condition. The ribbon, and you'll see that on the next slide, is inverted. It's been inverted for some time, so any rally that we have will be in the context of a broader downtrend. Market breadth is viewed by our 52-week new high, new low indicators, minus 210 to plus 80. So we continue to pound the new lows. That is obviously not constructive for the bulls. The overall strikes here, 3,800 on the left goalpost, 42 on the right. Watch this 3980, 3990 range. This is a multi-time frame transition. You'll see that on the last slide here. Very clean. When we get this tight, we can break either way. So caution either way is advised. The 4,000 strike is the dominant 0 DTE. We are seeing evidence of the 4,000 strike as well as the 4065 being pounded. That could open the door to moving north, but we'll just have to see, especially with futures being up in the pre-market. If we do advance above the 4,000, we're looking at the 4030 to 4035 zone as being a very significant, probably a stalling area for today, just due to the gamma that will just continue to grow throughout the day. And then to the downside, 3950 remains the downside area. If we lose 3950, that'll open the door to 3900, and that's problematic for a number of reasons. We are in a positive charm environment as far as we're concerned. We know there are others out there who say that is not the case, but the data here says we are until the end of the week. Next week landscape does change quite a bit. 0 DTE, folks, you should be looking at these key levels. Again, if we move up, a lot of this will flow as positive charm. If we move down, it'll flow as negative charm. So watch these transition levels and the coincidence between the different areas. Taking a look at the market model, we don't know if we're going up or down. This is not a predictive model. We've had some questions on this. This is just a momentum model, and it's an instantaneous indication of sentiment within the market. What we are seeing is obviously we had a sell-off into yesterday's afternoon. In terms of overall sentiment, net selling is what this is telling you, and that caused the overall signals to flip from this uptrend that we had on the previous day. Now, you can see the ribbon is in a slight downward trend. This is a longer-term type of indication. You can see, though, it's starting to fill the screen, and it's becoming more horizontal, and that's because we're right in this close proximity to it. There's not a lot of pressure to go either way, so chop, chop, chop. Be careful. Don't get out over your ski tips. Taking a look at the E-minis, we have had a movement upward in what we call positive transition in the E-minis. This is kind of interesting because this is actually short-term bearish. Some calls were closed, exposing the in-the-money puts that are up there. We want everyone to be aware of that. On the contrast of that, though, plus GEX moved up from 4450 now up to 4500. We find that as very interesting. So just be aware of all of this and what that could potentially mean here. When we take a look here, COI, minus trans, minus GEX, and POI, all unchanged. These are the same indicators that are in the Discord, not for the ES, but for all the other stocks and index ETFs that we track, so just be aware of that. Note volatility is much lower in the overnight session. That should be supportive of short-term Vanna flows for today. Taking a look at the gamma levels, as well as some deltas, it's interesting to note we're in a mixed condition. We've had some deltas go up, some deltas go down. The overall structure is unchanged. Volatility is lower. This is an open, high, low, close view. This is for our premium sellers. We get a lot of questions about this. We take a very conservative approach, and if you can sell above 440.45 or below 38.96, you are probably in good shape for the day. Taking a look at the PM settled complex, 4065 is the JPM short call strike for Friday. This will roll. It is becoming less and less relevant. Why I say that is they are being pounded by the long calls. I urge everyone to go back and look at other morning calls and look at this number. It is coming down really fast, and when it's coming down, that means that it's being offset by long calls. We do adjust for short strikes as well as long strikes within our data. Overhead, relatively weaker compared to yesterday. And then down below, we're not really seeing a structure that is bullish. So we want to just make sure everyone is aware the PM settled complex is not overly bullish right now, and we think that's important. That said, watch this 3980, 3985, a very clean transition, very positive or call dominated area above that 3990 level. You can see actually the strength of the below us is pretty significant too in gamma. And then taking a look here at the deltas, we are not seeing the out of the money put speculators give up, and that is not constructive for the bulls, and we're keeping an eye on that. 0 DTE, again, very tight range, a little bit lower than what we see in the PM complex. You can see, though, 3950, we see this little area that's pocket that could be growing here at 4,000. And then I noted that 4030, 4035 area is very, very strong. If we do break the 4,000 for today, we could get trapped in this area, which would be a good thing, right? That would start launching us upward. But note, this is what is expiring today. So this is indicative of kind of the big picture of how things could be navigated. Taking a look at tomorrow, Thursdays are typically weak. This is no exception here. Very weak structure for tomorrow. It's wide, it's loose. You can see that to the downside, that 3950 is going to still play a very dominant role for tomorrow. And out of nowhere, this 3925 has come in. So we are seeing some net closings of puts, but it's really sporadic. So just be aware of that. Taking a look at the balance of the week here, not overly constructive. You can see what is coming off. Friday is the JPM roll. Just study this chart. It's a comparison of contrasts, right? So we're still we're balanced with a slight put domination here. This is the balance of the week as indicated here, 3975, 3990 range. The structure has to be navigated as it evaporates, so just be aware of that. Taking a look into next week, which we find is pretty interesting. We do have a fairly good structure into next week, but the downside is extremely weak, right? So we're seeing the out of the money puts really dominate the conversation for next week. If they don't have a sense of potential failure, if we see more and more puts go in, that could cause us to actually advance and go lower. Take a look at the quarter levels here, 3900, 3925, 3950 to the downside. We do have some good upside structure, but just be aware it's going to take a little bit to get through this transition, which is the no pressure zone. Taking a look at the combo, which is the AM and the PM. Here's that 4065. You can see where it is. Here's this part here is the deltas above us. These are out of the money call speculators. They are dominating the big mothership here. This is a good thing, right? So this is very constructive. To the downside, we still have the in the money calls that are being stomped on by the out of money puts. We want to see that change, and we're not seeing it. It's relatively unchanged from yesterday. One thing that is an ominous cloud on the horizon, and not saying that the market climbs a wall of worry, but one of the metrics that we do look at is where does this floor start approaching and start encroaching on the calls or the puts. We are seeing a movement upward in the put-dominated deltas. Now, think about this. These are in-the-money calls below us, and so their deltas are going to be dominant. When we start seeing this coming up, that means people are targeting this area and lower for out-of-the-money puts. We're actually seeing, as we play in this area, we're seeing a flow go in down here and a structure change. This is not constructive for the bulls. So we are... concern's not the right word, but we are mindful that this is really thin ice that we're on right now. Also, we are in a put-dominated environment. We have not pulled into a positive flow environment, and as a result of that, just be aware that it's very fragile right now. If we can't get above and close above that 3985 level, and then the 4,000 strike, of course, with the COI and POI, and then pushing upward, it's going to be very, very difficult to make any upward advance here. So play it as you see fit. Last slide here, JPM showing its overall dominance is the upside limit of anything that we were to push. Remember, this comes off on Friday as it's rolled out. 4,200 upside. I do want to note the structure of the 43. There are call speculators going in. They're just not filling in this area. So this is somewhat interesting, and this could position us for a possible advance into next week. We'll just have to see what happens. 3985 is the transition area. Keep an eye on that. Here's the 3800 line, 3900 line, and you can see we still have a very well-dominated put structure below us, so we're not going to collapse. Liquidity is there as these people out-of-the-money puts continue to dominate the conversation. If we do fall, they will monetize, and that'll be supportive to a controlled descent and not a rapid descent. So with that, I will leave you. If you're interested in this, if you want to come in, kick the tires, come to GammaEdge.us, upper right-hand corner, pricing tab, fill out the blanks, come on in, 14-day free trial, all the tools turned on. Would urge everybody to come in and meet the crew. We got a great group of traders, very active in voice. About a quarter of the membership is in voice at any one given time. Just a phenomenal team there. Twitter, GammaEdges with an S, and then YouTube, two things. First of all, if you like today's commentary, please smash that like button. It gives me immediate feedback that I'm providing the content that you want to see and that you find actionable. And two, subscribe, because when you subscribe, you will get notified of our next posting. And Taylor and I try to post every single day. So with that, I bid you farewell. Have a great hump day. Hope to see everybody in the Discord. Thanks, everyone.